I was in a bit of a hurry to come and start my presentation. Didn't want people falling asleep after lunch, perhaps. Good afternoon, and children and ladies and gentlemen, and thanks for giving us this opportunity of sharing some thoughts on a very interesting topic, burning topic, very apt. We are progressing in every field enormously, and the internet, as I'm sure in the session earlier today and yesterday, we must have heard that the internet broadband is galloping. Everybody wants it. The Indian penetration is very low as of now, but the world is really moving forward. All of us need internet. All of us need a lot of bandwidth. But what is the impact of all of that on the energy, on the greenhouse gases, on the carbon dioxide emission? So I have chosen this topic of what is the effect of on the environment of fiber to the home networks. So I'm not sure if everybody is familiar with these acronyms, but FTTH is fiber to the home and FTTB is fiber to the building, which would mean, and there's another acronym which will come up later, is FTTN, fiber to the node. So which would mean that on the backbone, fiber is coming up to the exchange, so we call that fiber to the node. Fiber is also being extended, as is happening in India, or at least in the metros, with the fiber is coming outside your building. So that's fiber to the building, and moving on from there, we are now working on taking fiber right up to the home. So your home would have a customer premise equipment, popularly called an ONU, optical network unit, which would then connect to your telephone and your internet services and video, television, etc. There is this slide on the worldwide FTTH. Now I'm concentrating on fiber to the home. So we all have fiber running outside our homes to the building or in the backbone up to the exchanges. But the focus here is more fiber to the home because that's the next thing that's coming. So the fiber to the home, now we are reaching, 129 million subscribers where fiber is going right all the way to the home. And when it comes all the way to the home, there are more electronics which are being put into the network, into the circuit, more electronics, more power consumptions. You can imagine when we have, every computer is consuming so much of power, emitting gases. Data centers, as you would know, consume huge amount of power. The single biggest expenditure in a data center is the power consumption and the power that you need to cool a data center to keep the computers running. And all of that would increase several fold in India because, as I mentioned, our internet penetration is 0.1% compared to 50% or 55% telephony penetration. And when this 0.1% reaches some appreciable level of 10-11%, there will be a huge impact on the pollution. A worldwide scenario of where some of the countries are in terms of FTTH. So the leading country in the world is South Korea. South Korea has got some amazing amount of 46% FTTH, fiber to the home penetration, where fiber is going into everybody's homes and they have something like 70% of the country's population is served by 100 Mbps per person going into the homes. India doesn't figure in this. I don't know when will it happen. Quite some distance away. But what is sort of heartening, or if at all, is that the Asian countries are the top 5 in fiber to the home penetration. The Europes and the Americas are still far behind. So perhaps the Asian effect might help us in rapidly growing. And I know in India when things happen very fast. Okay, what's the deal of the hour? What is it? Why do we need bandwidth? Aren't we all happy? Life is going on, it's going on pretty well, we've grown. No, but we need bandwidth because, essentially we are now talking about triple play services. So you need bandwidth because you're trying to shift your telephony, your internet, your television, currently as is known, on the internet, so that you can get your television signals also through the internet instead of getting them extraterrestrial or through cable television lines, because there are a lot of advantages if it comes through internet, through bandwidth. Then it's available to you when you want it. There is time shift available. There is a lot of interactivity which can happen if it's coming on the internet. So now these are the known few things that are talking about why do you want internet. There are a lot of things which are unimaginable, which telemedicine and education and tutoring and all that, which I have a presentation right in the last slide that I'll talk about, throwing some ideas as to what all we can do with a lot of internet. Business needs internet for Ethernet services, wireless backhaul, etc., faster broadband, greater bandwidth capacity, less complexity, running your operations more profitable. You work very fast, you download heavy files, you download presentations, you download designs, and you can send them on the fly, and your businesses can be concluded very quickly. So you need bandwidth, come what may, to run your business efficiently. What's the impact of all of that? More energy consumption requirement, more energy cost, more carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, high energy requirements for cooling data centers, increasing population of devices consuming power, and then you need the uninterrupted power. So there's a lot of power going in everywhere. So there is this case study that I'll cite, or I'll draw upon to prove or to sort of talk about what is the impact and what are the suggested ways of doing all of this internet explosion in a manner which doesn't sort of pollute us heavily. I am a member of the FTTH Council APAC. FTTH Council APAC is one of the 3 fiber to the home councils in the world. There is one in the US, one in Europe. So, and FTTH councils, these 3 bodies, they engage in studying and enhancing knowledge base and spreading knowledge base, to do with fiber to the home. So we had commissioned a study sometime back, about 5-6 months back, given it to a company called Heavy Reading to analyze the energy use, energy cost, and the carbon dioxide emission associated with operating broadband in 3 different scenarios. We had covered 3 different scenarios. So the first scenario was that what if you had 100% fiber to the home, which means that fiber is going all the way to the home. If that's the case, then what is the impact? Second was that if you had a mix of 20% of the homes had fiber going up to the home, and 80% of the homes had fiber stopping up to the building. In a multi-dwelling unit, the fiber stops at the building, and from there you take copper to every building. So that's a 20-80 combination. And the third was if you had 100% fiber to the node, which is the current scenario where you have fiber stopping at the exchange, where you put a DSLAM, and from there the current system from where you have a DSL line coming up to your home. So that DSL box gives you internet and telephony connectivity. That's the current scenario in India at least, which is 100% FTTN. Sorry, that's a mistake. It should be FTTN. And this study was done for various number of subscribers. For some 2,048 subscribers, one study was for 10,000 and one was for 1 million. Now, for the purposes of making it simpler and to keep it brief, because this is not detailed study talking about the details, but just to give an impact. So I've just quoted from here on the study which was for 1 million subscribers and not the intermediate ones. I've also got an interesting comparison of how much of energy is consumed by using copper versus by using fiber. So one can figure out what's the enormous difference and why is it that fiber can help in energy in going green. Here is one scenario. This scenario, like I said, so there are 3 scenarios we are covering. One is 100% fiber to the home, one is 20% fiber to the home and 80% fiber to the building, and third is 100% fiber to the node. So this is fiber to the home. Just quickly, what it talks about in this is that, on your far left is the OLT. The OLT is typically sits on the exchange, which could be very far away, which could be about 10-15 kilometers away from your home, and from there up to 20 kilometers there is a fiber which runs from the OLT up to a point where the homes start. A splitter is put there, and then one fiber is split into 32 or the various designs. So I've assumed 32 splitting, and each home then gets a fiber. So if you see at the end, by doing this scenario, you consume 102,300 megawatt hour per year of energy for only the equipment, to run the equipment and to cool the equipment. This is for 1 million homes. You consume $11,000 worth of energy per year. $11 million worth of energy to run this kind of a network for 1 million homes. And you emit 73,000 metric tons of carbon dioxide if you run a network based on 100% fiber to the home. The details are there in the slide, and I'll tell you a site where you can download and go through this in more detail if you wish. And here is a 20% FTTH and 80% FTTB scenario. So what it means is that up to that splitter point, everything is same. From this splitter, we have 20% of the homes, or the 1 million, which have fiber going up to the home, and the balance 80% is the case where it's terminating into the building, at the basement of the building, and from the basement of the building, each home has got copper going there. So there's lesser of fiber going in here, in those building scenarios, and more copper going into the homes directly. So here the energy consumptions, are again detailed. There's 57,000 megawatt hour per year for cooling and running the equipment, and there's 41,000 metric tons of carbon dioxide emission in this scenario. Then you have this third scenario if you had 100% fiber to the node, which is essentially trying to say that the fiber ends at the exchange very far away, wherever it is, and copper is what is running up to everybody's homes. In that case, the energy or the carbon dioxide which is emitted is hell of a lot, is 83,000 metric tons of carbon dioxide which is emitted if you run purely on a copper network. This is a comparison. So here it says that you use 4 times more energy to operate FTTN or the copper network than you would do with a fiber network. So you consume 4 times more energy, and you consume 2 times more energy if it is a FTTN versus a FTTH, FTTB comparison, the 80-20 model. And FTTH consumes 13% less energy than a copper network. So when somebody is designing a network for broadband, he sort of takes these inputs into mind, and eventually the best combination that works out in this case is to have a mix of, not all fiber or all copper, but a mix of part copper, part fiber, where if you have a building with 10 floors and four apartments per floor, 40 apartments, it makes sense not to take fiber to every home, but to terminate fiber in the basement and run copper for short distances. So that's the best scenario, where you get the adequate bandwidth because your copper distances are small. You can deliver 100 Mbps, and your energy consumption and carbon dioxide emissions are also much controlled. This is just a comparison of all these things put together. Quickly speaking, I've just compared the combination fiber to the home and fiber to the building combination versus fiber to the node versus the total copper. And in every case you will see that the energy use is 50% lesser, energy cost is 49% lesser, and carbon dioxide emission is also 50% lesser if you do a judicious design of the network between copper and fiber. Okay, here is a slide, amazing slide about copper versus fiber. The energy consumed to run 1 kilometer of fiber, to draw 1 kilometer of fiber, I've broken it up into various activities. The energy required to mine and produce 1 ton of copper and so on and so forth, eventually coming down to you consume about 26 to 75 kilowatt hour to draw 1 kilometer of copper. Whereas in the case of fiber, you consume 0.3 kilowatt hour to have 1 kilometer of fiber. So that's the kind of difference. Apart from the ongoing consumption that I explained in the earlier slides, this is even before that. So if you are running more networks on copper, you are actually polluting the environment hell of a lot. Your energy requirements become very high. Same slide presented in a graph, and yeah, right. So this is again, converting the tonnage into dollars. So in case of copper, for example, you spend about $5 per kilometer of energy cost against $0.02 per kilometer of energy cost if you were to draw it on fiber. carbon dioxide emission. So carbon dioxide emitted is about 0.05 metric tons per kilometer of copper that you've drawn, you emit. And in the case of fiber, it is 0.0002. So it's very minimal amount of carbon dioxide that you emit if you're running it on fiber than copper. Okay, to summarize, there is 4 times more energy, 4 times more cost saving, 4 times more emission of carbon dioxide in a FTTN VDSL than in a 100% FTTH and 20% and 80% combination. This is just summarizing what I just said. You have 2 times more energy, 2 times more cost, and 2 times more emission of carbon dioxide in a FTTN environment compared to a 2080 FTTH, FTTB environment. You have 13% more energy that gets consumed if you're running on 100% FTTN versus 100% FTTH, or copper versus fiber. So for 1 million subscribers, operators can save 35.5 gigawatt hertz of electricity and about $3.6 million in energy cost every year if they run it on fiber rather than on copper. This translates into a greenhouse gas savings equivalent to carbon dioxide emitted by consumption of about 2.9 million gallons of gasoline. So that's the kind of savings or help that they could do to the environment if they're running more on fiber and less on copper. It takes about 130 to 256 times more energy to produce the required amount of copper as compared to fiber. That's the comparison for the production point of view. So, which is what the world is now doing, is shifting towards GPON rather than depending on too much of copper. There is this site, FTTH Council ap.org. So if people who are interested can go to this site and they can download this whole study by heavy reading and go through it in detail. So I actually have a small movie here, just to give you an idea as to what people in other countries, in this particular one is from Malaysia, what all they're trying to do on getting high bandwidth, what is possible.
Imagine if you only had to travel when absolutely necessary. Imagine if your world was completely without wires. Imagine if you could have perfect timing in any situation. Imagine if you could be in 2 places at the same time. Imagine if your rural business could be played on a global scale. Imagine if your home business isn't just confined to the home. Imagine if the government could be just a click away. Imagine if you could have access to healthcare no matter where you are. Imagine if you could be a farmer who is also an international trader. Imagine if you could be a creator of your own virtual world. Imagine if you could have access to education wherever you are. Imagine if every child could be a child of the world. Imagine bringing your family closer to one another, wherever they are. Now, imagine you could achieve all this with high-speed broadband.
So thank you. Thank you all, and this was just a snippet as to what all can be done, and I think the rest is all left to you children to imagine and create. Thank you.